to show you how to divide a decimal by a decimal. Take, for example, to divide 7.8 by 2.4. Your first step would be to estimate your answer. 7.8 rounds to 8, and 2.4 rounds to 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so our answer should be close to 4. Step 1. When dividing decimals by decimals, change the divisor, which is the number you're dividing by, to a whole number by moving the decimal point all the way to the right. Consider this example. 7.8 divided by 2.4. You're going to move the decimal in 2.4 all the way to the right. So you need to move it one decimal place. However many times you move this decimal in the divisor, you move the decimal in the dividend the same number of times. So we're going to have to move the decimal in 7.8 over one time also. So our new problem is 78 divided by 24. Our decimal is now at the end of 78, and we would divide as usual. Step 2 then is to move the decimal the same number of places in the dividend as you did in the divisor, and divide as normal. Let's do an example together. Here we have 4 problems. I'm going to do number 3. Number 3 is 8.75 divided by 0.03, or 300. The first thing I would do is I would make the divisor a whole number. I don't want to divide by a decimal, so I'm going to move the decimal point 2 times to get to the end of that number. So 3, or 0.03, becomes a whole number 3. However many times I'm going to move this decimal in the divisor, I have to move the dividend decimal also. So I'm going to move this decimal point 2 times. So this ends up being at the end of the number. So I now have 3 divided into 875. My decimal stays there at the end of the number, and that's where it ends up in my quotient, or my answer. And then I divide as usual. So 3 goes into 8 2 times, because 2 times 3 is 6. Remainder 2. Bring down to 7. 3 goes into 27 exactly 9 times. And I have no remainder. But then I have to keep going because I have to bring down this 5. So now I divide 3 into 5. Goes in 1 time. 1 times 3 is 3. Remainder 2. And at this point I'm dividing now into the tenths place. So I would bring down 1 more 0. And here's where I notice 3 goes into 26 times, because 6 times 3 is 18, and I'm going to have a repeating decimal. The 6 is going to repeat. So my answer is 291.6, or 291 and 6/10 repetitive. The decimal doesn't always end up at the end of the number. Let's consider an example like number 4. In number 4, our divisor is 0.09, and our dividend is 0.963. When I move the decimal, again, I have to move the decimal 2 times to get to the end of the number. It's not 2 times always, it's however many digits you need to move to get to the end of the number. We want the number we're dividing by to be a whole number. So this becomes 9. Because I moved this decimal 2 times, I'm going to move this decimal 2 times. 1, 2. In this example, we see our dividend becomes 96.3. So our decimal lines up in the number we're dividing by, and then we divide as usual. 9 into 9, 1 time, because 9 times 1 is 9, remainder 0. Bring down to 6. 9 goes into 6 0 times. And we continue with that remainder of 6, and we bring down to 3. 9 goes into 63 exactly 7 times, because 7 times 9 is 63. I have a remainder of 0, and I'm finished. My answer is 10 and 7 tenths. Now I want you to try 2 examples at home. Make sure you bring them tomorrow, because I will be checking to make sure you watch the video. I'd like you to try the 2 examples that we didn't do, number 1 and number 2. I'll read it to you in case you can't see it. Number 1 is 12.3 divided by 0.5. Number 2 is 53.8 divided by 0.4. Good luck. See you tomorrow.